So in this video I show you a custom Blender build I developed with morph targets in Grease Pencil. Morph targets are great for animating facial expressions, tweaking rig deformations and other cool animation stuff, like casting a magic spell that turns a pencil into a beautiful rose. I uploaded a Windows version of my custom build to the Blender community site, so when you are on Windows you can give it a try yourself. I'll put a link in the description. Well, morph targets, here we go. When we look at the timeline, we can see that all the layers here at the bottom have only one keyframe, at frame 1. So the entire animation is driven by animated morph targets. Let me scrub through the timeline slowly. First there is this magic star swirling around the pencil. The pencil tip is getting green. The pencil turns in a green stem with leaves and a rosebud. And finally, with a magic spin, the rose is blossoming fully. We are going to remake this morph target in the middle to pencil. By doing that we get a good understanding from all the properties captured in the morph target. Here in the Object Properties tab we have the Morph Targets panel. Let me mute a couple of morphs to get a clean view. And I create a new morph target with plus and I call it to pencil remake. Yes, before I'm going to edit it, I have to show you one other thing. When I press tab in the viewport, you see this tool wheel. It's an add-on I made, the GP tool wheel, very convenient for quickly switching modes and tools in Grease Pencil. It's on GitHub, I put a link in the description. It's free, so when you're interested you can check it out. But back to the morph. I click Edit. And notice the orange-yellow line around the viewport stating that we are editing a morph target now. Part of the rose magic is that the morph is a reversed effect. So the rose is our base drawing and now we are going to morph it into a pencil. So I am on the rose stem layer and all of this has to morph into a black pencil. So I take the tint tool and I have a pencil black color here and I paint everything in the pencil color. That's the first morph. And then I select this stroke. Let me show the adding line and I'm going to scale it so that it is getting straight, scaling horizontally. And I'm going to normalize the thickness here in the stroke menu. And I've done it before, so the value 150 is about right to get a thick pencil. And now I want to scale the thorns to the inside. So I select everything and then with Ctrl drag I deselect this leaf and this leaf and the stem itself. And now I have the thorns and I scale it inwards so you won't see them in the pencil. And now for the leaves. Just a leaf, I take the transform tool and I'm going to scale it down and rotate it like so. And then I take these two and I rotate them so they can hide into the pencil and I'm moving them down so you have this nice crawling up effect when the morph is applied. So that's for the pencil base. I select the pencil tip layer and the opacity is 0 at the moment, so I'll crank this up to 1, and in the transform the scale I set it to 1, and let me hide the rose flower for a moment so you can see the tip a bit better, and I'm going to move it a bit downwards like so. That's for the transform of the pencil tip. Now we have transformed the rose into a pencil. So I click Finish Edit and boom, all changes are gone. But don't worry, our edits are inside the morph. So when I move the value slider up, you can see the morph in action. Nice, isn't it? So when I press N in the sidebar, there is this panel GP Morphs, and it's a convenient place to set keyframes for all our morph targets. Let's set the keyframe at 40 for our 2-pencil remake, and it's a reversed effect, so we start at 1, setting a key, and then we go to frame 95 and we set the key at 0. And now we have our morph animated. Oh, and let's unmute the others. Not to pencil, we have remade that, but the magic star and the pencil tip coloring. So, and now we have what we had. So let's summarize all the properties captured by a morph target. What's in a morph? For strokes, the point coordinates, we've seen that. We've rescaled the leaves and the stem. We have adjusted the thickness. You can morph stroke point opacity and vertex color and fill vertex color. And those of course only when you use vertex colors and not only material colors. And for the layers, we have seen that you can morph all the transformations, so translation, rotation and scale. We have morphed the opacity, and we haven't seen it yet. I'll show it in a bit. You can morph a layer order. So this is why I chose the term morph target and not shape keys, as they are called in the 3D counterpart of Blender. A morph target stores a lot more than just the shape of your strokes. For changing the layer order, we can see that here. Let me zoom in a bit. Here the star is behind the pencil. And when I scrub further, here the star is in front. So behind and in front. And when I go to the magic star morph target and look at the layer order here, keep your eye on it. Here the magic star is on top, and when I click edit, you see that magic star is moved downwards, so it's getting behind all the pencil layers. So that's how you morph a layer order. And it's a pretty sweet option because layer orders normally is something you can't animate. It's very useful for head turns, for example, when you want to move an ear before a head at a certain angle. So, to complete the overview, I will show you 2 more things. First, you can change the range of a morph value. It isn't limited to 0 to 1. To flower bud, for example, it has a range from -1 to 1 plus 1. So when I'm at the end of the animation, I can show you here to flower buds. Let's hide the move tool. So this is 1, and here we are around 0, but I can extrapolate in the negative values. So the rotation and either the color tint is interpolated in the negative. It's a nice option for things as follow through and anticipation at the start of an animation. And the second, all the morphs are driven by a modifier. Here in the modifier properties, you see this modifier morph targets. It's automatically added when you create your first morph target. And here you can do all normal modifier stuff like limiting the influence or changing the order. So you can have an armature modifier, for example, and place your morph target modifier after that for corrective rig morphs. Well, that's it for this demo. Let me play the animation one more time. And now we have seen the potential power of morph targets. Let me know how you think about it. When you're on Windows, have a play with the demo build. And for the big question, will this be part of official Blender soon? Well, in short, probably not. At the moment there's kind of a feature lock in the Grease Pencil module, because they are rewriting lots of the code. But I will reach out to the Grease Pencil developers, of course. I'll share my code and let's see how it goes from there. Thank you for watching. Bye!